Shawn Ryan couldn't wrap his head around this.
I asked her in the interview, I said, have you ever remote viewed?
Oh, she's a psychic.
Yeah. I mean, she was really open the whole interview. And then when I asked her that, it just
shut down.
Like she switched.
During this episode of The Shawn Ryan Show, guests Lee Strobel and John Burke reveal the truth about psychics, showing that there's more to reality than meets the eye.
The Old Testament asserts that those who associate with familiar spirits are cursed by God.
If you've ever considered the possibility of an extra-dimensional aspect to our world, you don't want to miss today's video. So hit that subscribe button and let's jump right in.
I've interviewed a handful of them, and one of them was Angela Ford. And she had done a lot of work for the government and found some missing kids and stuff. And I asked her in the interview, I said, have you ever remote viewed?
Oh, she's a psychic.
Yeah. And she did not want to answer that. She started rubbing her teeth and like moving her head back and forth. And
why?
I didn't want to dig any deeper. It was, I mean, she was really open the whole interview. And then when I asked her that, it just
shut down.
Like she switched.
Prior to this moment, Lee and John had been sharing stories about near-death or out-of-body experiences and encounters with extra-dimensional entities. In the spirit of the moment, Shawn couldn't pass up the opportunity to share his rendezvous with the psychic. And I mean, can you blame him? If you've seen that video, Angela Ford's response to Shawn's crucifixion question, it's probably still stuck in your head. When someone who is freely sharing their spiritual experiences with you suddenly locks up and starts to fidget at the mention of Jesus, 10 times out of 10, they're in a league with entities that don't take kindly to Jesus. This is what James describes in James 2:19. It says, "You believe that God is one, you do well. Even the demons believe and shudder." Meanwhile, if you haven't seen the video, we did a great cover on the situation on this channel. What John says about psychics in the next clip is not what you'd expect from a pastor.
Again, I don't think necessarily people know.
Right.
And I think that's part of the problem, is that I don't think they're necessarily evil, wicked people. They many times have good intentions and good motives. And again, the best deception is 80-90% true.
Yeah.
And so I think, like Lee was saying, I think sometimes you can have things that are helpful, but are they in fact helpful for a reason to get people to follow after them, not after God?
Yeah.
It was interesting. I mean, she said, yes, I have. And I said, do you want to talk about it? And she just started rubbing her teeth.
Have you tried to look into religion at all, such as the crucifixion? You have? Do you not want to talk about that? Okay. Do you want to talk about, you had mentioned you had a UFO experience.
Moving her eyes around, and it was...
Well, look, here's the thing.
It scared the hell out of me, to be honest.
What John admits here exposes a gray area that's often ignored. Most Christians think psychics and other occult practitioners are as malevolent as the spirits behind their abilities. What a way to be wrong. In 2 Corinthians 11:14, the Bible talks about the devil's ability to disguise himself as an angel of light, which means he and his demons are highly capable of speaking truth or doing what is right. And there are some really good instances in Scripture. In one of Jesus' temptations in Luke 1-13, Satan quotes Psalms 91:11 and 12 to get Jesus to do his bidding, but Jesus turns him down. Then there's Paul, who rebuked the girl possessed with the spirit of divination in Acts 16:16-18. Mind you, she had accurately predicted that Paul was a servant of God and had come to show the people of the city the way to salvation. Like John mentions, the aim of these deceptive antics is to displace God and have people rely on and revere the wrong being instead. But why go through all that trouble? Let's find out.
Like Randy, the CEO I interviewed, when the 6 embolisms traveled up his leg and pulmonary embolism, his heart stops, body shuts down, he's rising up, and he looks out over the surface of the earth, but there was something else going on. And it's about, he believes it was a battle for for his soul because he was really struggling with God. He'd gone through a lot of stuff and was really struggling with God. Even though he's a believer, he was struggling. But he sees this battle going on. And, you know, Jesus talked about that. I mean, he said, the ruler of this world is coming. This is before his crucifixion. The ruler of this world, I thought he was the King of Kings, the Messiah. What about God, the Father, you know? Yeah. Well, God has given the demonic angelic host rule for a time.
For context, Randy Kay is the CEO of Pace Setters and Tenor Corp, a human development and strategic development firm, respectively. He was a former agnostic who gave his life to Christ after a near-death experience and is now the founder of Randy Kay Ministries and the author of several books. In his interview with John, they explored his out-of-body experience closely, ultimately disclosing that beyond the surface, there's an ongoing war for souls, and the devil is willing to employ every weapon in his arsenal to attract as many as possible. Those who are allied with the dark, whether their motives are good or not, know about this. Likewise with those who are in the light. John's quote about the devil being the ruler of the world is in John 14:30, and it explains why the devil's schemes are rampant. We talk about this in another video of ours featuring another high-profile CIA agent, and I highly suggest you check it out. What Lee Stribble says next, though, shatters the smokescreen around psychics.
I interviewed a scholar on this question of psychics and mediums and so forth for my book, and this is what he said. The Bible condemns all forms of occultism. Leviticus 19:26 commands, do not practice divination or seek omens. Similarly, Leviticus 19 verse 31, do not turn to mediums or seek out spiritists, for you will be defiled by them. The Old Testament asserts that those who associate with familiar spirits are cursed by God. Furthermore, Exodus 22:18 and Leviticus 20:27 mandate that sorcerers and mediums living at that time be put to death. Deuteronomy 18 verses 10 through 12 is explicit. Let no one be found among you who is a medium or spiritist or who consults the dead. Anyone who does these things is detestable to the Lord. Revelation 9:21 promises that all who practice sorcery will face God's judgment. Their destiny is not heaven, but rather the lake that burns with fire and sulfur. Take a look at Revelation 21 verse 8 and 22 verse 15.
One thing is clear. God has a zero-tolerance policy for psychics and other occult practices. If someone reiterates a warning this many times, I'd want to move with extreme caution going forward. However, Lee and John would warn later on the show that God's condemnation of these occult practices doesn't mean the practitioners are beyond saving. After all, Romans 10:13 says, "For everyone who calls upon the name of the Lord will be saved." Here's what bothers me. People who engage in divination and the like, either as consultants or clients, are already aware of the spiritual undertones of our world. So why not go to God instead, since he's also a spirit? I look forward to reading your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you haven't done so yet, and I'll see you in the next one.